Welcome! Welcome back. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. New day, a new study. This one is... Oh my goodness, I just forgot the name. It's the Holy Family with Saints Anne and Catherine of Alexandria by... Let's pull it up because, oh my goodness. There's things you don't realize you forgot to do until you hit Let's Go Live and suddenly all of your technology is being used. What does it say? Where is it? Oh my gosh. Oh. My goodness. Okay, I should just stop. No, I'm determined. I want to know who did it. Why can't I remember his name? I need to reference him by his first name all through the thing. Jusepe de Ribera. We're gonna call him Ribera today. Alright, we're gonna get started. This one is gonna be really weird. I need a new rag. Because she's exceedingly pale, right? To the point of, let's just say she's just straight white. Which kind of does give me, reminds me of, the Oriental vibe. Which I think, this is the 1600s. I think that was around the time when they were, having a lot of contact with China and et al. Asian countries. And so that influence could have happened. I also don't remember, and I never took art history, so it's fine. Anyway, or, as I've said before, oil paints can fade with time if you don't, or if you aren't careful with the specific paints that you use and the colors that you're mixing it with. Like I've talked about how Alizarin crimson, I put that red way too close over. Oh, and I just, you know what? We're gonna make cadmium orange because I just grabbed both of those and I don't want to waste the yellow. Alizarin crimson with white fades over time, and that could have happened here. Or I don't know. I don't know why she looks ghostly. But I kind of like it. I don't know. It's a different change. Yeah. Good morning. Oh boy, setting out the palette. I low-key want to get this done today. But I also, in my heart, know that I probably won't. Knowing how quickly I go, or lack thereof. In these, and how long it takes me to do some of the details and stuff like that and get it to where I want it to go. I did save the peachy pink and the pink from yesterday, which was probably a bad idea. We'll see. Since it's so white, I don't like using old white when a painting has a lot of white, because it usually goes poorly because the white's just too tacky, just a tad bit too tacky to blend well and move around. But we'll see. I might have to pull out some new white for this, or we can pull the classic and not do the face today. But also, since Mary's face is so shiny. So it's, wait. On this topic of why her face is so bright, I think it also is just like a theological symbolism statement, because her and Jesus are really pale. Back here is Saint Joseph, and he looks normal. And then Saint Anne is, reaching up to Jesus. Or maybe, no, that would probably be Catherine of Alexandria. And Saint Anne is in the background, considering that's the Holy Family. And all three of them have normal skin tone colors. But Mary and Jesus are just, glowing. Pure white. Which is a symbol of the light of the world. And heaven and grace. Common themes. Or it faded. Or both. I don't know. These kind of things really intrigue me. While I'm painting, and then I kind of forget to look it up later. Such is life. Full of mystery. Also, probably more answers, or more questions than we really have answers for, because back then, who was going to be writing down those kinds of things? Those kind of fading things are things we only know more recently with modern technology and testing paintings. Anyway. I'm thinking. I think I do want to start with the face, just because, why not? It's gonna go great. Looking at it today, it's very, okay, I'm gonna stop saying it's really white, because it is. And I've said that about 17 times. I'm gonna mix a little bit of white yellow, plus white, plus black. And we're gonna start with the face. Because I can put in the black of the hair, or it's a very dark brown, and blend into that, and it's kind of like, okay, so it seems to be, whenever I look at a painting, if the face is extremely pale versus the background, I usually start with the face. Or if the entire painting is kind of pale. If you scroll through my Instagram, there's been 2 that I've done the face first on, because they were very pale in comparison to the background. That actually does look like it's light enough, and I'm going to make a little bit more of a separate color of that. A little bit more black and a little bit more of this yellow white. And that's kind of easier, but when it's either overall kind of evenly colored with lots of darks and lights and mediums, especially if there's more colors, then I'll do the background first to place in all those values, and it's a little bit easier to gauge if the face color is the correct color. So it's like I added a little bit of blue because there's some blue in the shadows up here. And then I want to make this might be a single day where we can actually use the straight cad red and white just as cad red and white. We're going to try it. I'm going to make, well, I already have a little bit of the orange. And these are pulls from yesterday. And they feel fine, so I'm not going to worry about the white today. Though I do want to make this one a little bit lighter as well. So I added some of the yellow, white, and okay, well, it's not really orange. I'm looking at like the blends between the white and the pink, and it's not. I don't see it leaning as orange as I do see it leaning yellow and blue. So it kind of shifts through, but does shift through orange and purple. We'll probably end up using all of them, or a little bit of each, or none of them. All right, well, that's fine. All right, let's throw some paint down. Starting with the filbert, as usual. I'm gonna actually start with, no, I'm gonna start with a small filbert because white. Except, just remembered, I did not mix the ochre. One of these days I'll say the right color in the first try. I will not ever, actually. It's fine. I'm gonna mix the hair color, which is gonna be both umbers and black. And then I want the highlight color to be burnt umber with the ochre. Hey, that's when we want to use ochre to lighten it up without adding white, because we really, in this one, we for sure want no white at all in the background, in the slightest. If it's not Mary's face, it's not white. It has no white in it, or Jesus. So I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna place the background color, and then I'll place the white, because then I can get this the fade into the hair. That'll be, why is this so close together? That'll be clearer with this dark color right here. Why did I draw that line? That's not even a thing. I guess it's a little bit of a lighter area. So, okay, let's do it. Oops. Whoopsies. There we go, okay. This is perhaps actually not dark enough. I'm gonna, there's white in there. Give me some black. All right, pat, pat, pat. Starting in the darks. So a few days ago, I started a sketchbook and essentially just practicing sketching faces so I can get better at, well, drawing faces. But I noticed that I draw the same way I paint, which is kind of just like chaotic, adding in the darks as I see them and then moving to lights and then going back to darks and kind of just getting an overall feel of the painting. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna do the entire hair. And then I'm just not gonna do the face. No, wait, okay, because it's too easy to do the background. Okay, we're fine. On to the story about the sketchbook. But I realized I paint in this very, like, it's the same way I draw, as the same way I paint as when I draw. Just kind of throwing it in lightly and then building up the darkness, which is like, that's how you're supposed to draw, but like the particular way that it manifests is different than the hashtag Instagram artists, you know, the aesthetics of TikTok, which is really frustrating, which was really, okay, that was actually what was frustrating me for a really long time, or has been for like the past year, that I paint kind of chaotically, and now I'm just kind of embracing it because it works and it makes sense to my hand. Like literally when I try to do at least right now, right, this could change, but when I try to do the tiling concept, this is actually a little bit lighter, where you mix the perfect color on the palette and you place down that one tile of paint that's a brush stroke, and then you mix the next color that goes next to it and you place it down and you form this beautiful image as you go, and it's much more complete from the start. Or it's not, but it's very clean and crisp on which brushstroke is where. And it's an absolutely stunning way of painting. But it makes my brain melt. So I don't do it. Which I think is actually a pretty good lesson if you're struggling in painting. Just some thoughts from my sketching. And it's okay to paint very weirdly. Also, because even with that, like, my style in painting has gotten a lot more sophisticated, more clean, if that is, if you can imagine. But it goes smoother now, and I do get the right colors more accurately from the start. Even if sometimes when you watch me paint, it's like I go too dark, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make it go lighter. Like 2 minutes before, I was like, that's a great color. It's just how it does. Just how it goes. You don't see things until you see things. I'm gonna need to grab some more black. Also, this is so thin. It's because the raw umber is really juicy because I just pulled it out of the tube. Usually it's like day 2 and kind of wanting to be dry. I've been having a ton of fun doing these sketchbook pages. I'm really focusing in, if you are interested, while I randomly paint the hair, or while I slowly paint the hair. Hold on, I need more black. Okay, can I hold the brush in the mouth? I just dropped my entire hand into that. What was I saying? Wow, this black is very matte. I'm gonna add a little bit of linseed oil. I should be adding linseed oil to the Ultramarine too, I think. But, because it's usually the blues. No, I guess it's the blacks. I'm looking at the old one, or for the one from yesterday. Ooh, I should actually, like, show the difference in color. I'll do that eventually. Because I usually oil out the paintings like the next day or 2 days later, so I can take a nice photo of it for the Instagrams. So you don't see the sinking in of the black as much. It's kind of loud. But the black is really, really sunken compared to the shininess of the white. So I'm adding a little bit of linseed oil just to freshen that up. I don't really want to put it there because there's a little bit of white there, but I'll just put it right there. Right next to it. So in the sketchbook, in the progress of learning how to paint faces, because if you didn't know, I absolutely hated painting people for like 90% of my life. I'm not that old, but actually though, I absolutely hated painting people. I thought I was terrible at it, and I would never be good at it, and it was just not worth my time to paint and to learn, because I was better at, I don't know, flowers and animals and stuff like that, landscapes. But recently I've been like, I want to learn how to paint people. I'm willing to take the risk. And I'm having kind of like it was a little bit before I started doing these, but I was thinking about like, I want to do saints, I want to do these more actual sacred art where it's, you know, people based, because that is what most sacred art is based on. And not just churches and monstrances and tabernacles, as much as that is cool and has a lot of meditative qualities of it with real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. Anyway, I'm not talking about that right now. So I started learning how to paint people. And I realized I only am terrible at it because I don't know what I'm doing. But I know how to do like the individual elements, and I can make it look like a person. You know, I mean, you might be in this same situation, where like you kind of get it, but it doesn't look like the person at all. So to fix that, right now I am doing the sketchbook, and I'm focusing on the full face and going slowly and figuring out what elements come together to create that person's actual face, which is the same thing I'm doing in these paintings too. In the master copies, what is going to make it look exactly like the master copy. The difference being in the sketchbook, I don't like trace it and prep it the same way. She has these lovely braids. I am such a fan of this. Oh, wow. Ribera, yes. Love it. I just got hit with inspiration. I really want to do this in, like, my Marian series. To give Mary, like, the braided... Oh, okay. Anyway, whew, off topic. But it's been really helping to push myself to not just draw like the nose, the eyes, the mouth, because I've done that enough and I know like the general structure, but putting them together is where I actually am awful at. So that's what I've been doing in the sketchbook. It's been a lot of fun. And one day I probably will show it. I'm doing a little bit of like a 30-day challenge. We'll see. We'll see. There might be a YouTube video going through and talking about what happened. Because I'm learning so much and I'm really excited about it all. Okay, we're making this part black in the background. So check if you're subscribed. And if you're not, subscribe, because then you'll miss that kind of content. Anyway. There's also an actual video coming out soon if I ever finish compiling the time-lapse with the narration. Alright, I said I was going to start with a face. You know what, I'm just gonna do the background. You know what, let's practice doing the background in like a very definitive, quick way. I just got white in that. Oh, sad day. There's just something about it. I can't start the face until the background is there. Even if it doesn't need it. It's good to warm up. You know, they say, every time I say they say, it's kind of like stuff that I don't totally agree with, but I know that people say it, and I know that it's good advice, but I don't know how to use it myself. I shouldn't admit that. But anyway, it's kind of one of those things. So they say warm up is good, and it is. Where else? This is gonna need another layer. The opacity is just simply not there, and it's too wet to do it. I'm not gonna touch that. I'm gonna get a new brush because this is mostly black. Where's the, I do want a bigger one. I'm gonna add a little bit of, actually I don't want alizarin. I want cad red. Suddenly I just really want to buy vermilion. I love buying paint. Oh, she's got a little bit of like, she's wearing a red dress as Mary does very often. You know, this is really interesting. Look at the shadow, how dark this shadow is compared, like the skin tone just pops out as this ridiculously white. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Just trying to figure out what's going on. I think I'm making it too late. I'm going to add a little bit more of the darker colors. Okay, and if I had a little bit more on the brush, it would be helpful. This edge. Okay, we're going to throw this edge in dark. That was really quiet. There's a tenderness and sweetness to this one as well, with the age of Mary. Like, if you look past the strangeness of the white... Okay, I'm going to stop talking about how her face is white. It's fine. It is. And we're moving on. Her eyes are really young. And, like, small lips, I mean, is the classic detonation? What is the word I'm trying to think of? Demarcation? Okay, I don't know. Of, like, youth a little bit. I don't know why. Maybe it's more of classical Italian beauty. I'm getting black on this brush. That was not supposed to be black. I just switched to the black brush. But she does look really young. And I've been really loving the paintings of Mary that look like she's 14, 15, 16. Like right into high school. Which, for girls, that's like right after puberty. I mean, which makes sense, obviously. But that, like, it's still, you still have that young face, but you've already, like, oh my gosh, I keep hitting the thing. But hit maturity. So, like, boys will look much younger still at this age. She's, like, kind of an 8th grader. It's just crazy to think about. But I'm loving paintings that really showcase that youth in Mary. I'm adding a little bit of the warm brown in these shadows. Hey, look, I'm working on the face. Starting to add the shadows. Okay, yeah, let's get into it. That's not really light enough. Jesus' ears, like, really, I don't know, it feels really big. It's not, but it feels that way. What's going on back there? Like, even in the last 2 that I did, or the 4 that I did last week, or the past 2 weeks, scroll back through the channel, Mary looks much more mature in those. Especially Bellini, well, okay, I did Bellini yesterday. Bellini usually paints her a little bit more mature. But in yesterday's, it was really youthful looking, and what am I doing? I wanted more yellow ochre. Doing yellow ochre for Jesus' little flyaway hair. I think I might work both faces at the same time since the colors are literally the same. That's my thought process right now. As I find one color. It'll help unify the entire painting as well because I'm going to be painting... What am I doing? I'm going to get the brown of Joseph's cloak. This is Joseph back here. Help unify, because as I find one, I don't... the palette gets more and more mixed and more muddled as the painting goes on. But if I use the colors at the time of creation, it'll help keep those unified without having to remix all of them and trying to remember the steps that I did going backwards and all of that. So that's what we're going to do. This is a little bit darker. I'm going to leave the blue of the mantle for sure just off to the side because I don't want to do it with blue. Not right now. A bit of highlight there. It's a bit light, but I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to the black brush. I'm going to add some burnt umber to that. Because burnt umber is really warm. We're gonna get the feel of fabric, not the actual fabric. Will this one end up being rather impressionistic-y in style? Perhaps. Actually, I really don't want it to be. I said that out loud. I don't like that. I mean, I do like the impressionist style, but I really do want it to look a bit more accurate to this. So I'm gonna even out some of these brush strokes just a little bit. Knock them down. Blend the edges so that it smooths out. That should have white in it, probably. I'm gonna leave it this sort of whatever. This is yellow ochre. Don't just say whatever. It's yellow ochre. And that'll be the demarcation of the lightness of it. What is with me today? And didn't I say demarcation earlier? Anyway, that'll be the lightness. Because I don't want white in this brush yet. And then I'll go back in when it dries up just a little bit, and I can get the detail in. Because right now there's quite a bit of paint on the canvas right now. Okay, I'm just gonna even out the back brush strokes. Okay, yeah, it's really wet back here. By the time I come back to it, it'll be dry though. Meaning in like an hour and a half. Oil paints do dry much faster than, well, okay, here's the hot take. Oil paints dry a lot faster than you think in the beginning. Because in the, sorry, that was really loud. When I first did my first oil painting, I glopped that paint on so thick. It was really cool. It wasn't really impressionistic, but I added a lot of paint for like no reason because I didn't know what I was doing. And it took like a month and a half to dry. Like to the touch. Oil paints dry over the course of at least 6 months or more, even when you're doing it like thin. It's a little faster when it's thin. Or it's a little bit, you can cheat more when it's thin. But it took a solid month. That was for my senior show in high school. And so it went up on that panel totally wet, and I had a little sign there being like, don't touch it. You'll ruin the painting. It was so difficult to transport. And so from then on, I thought that oil paints dry over the course of it. Like, you cannot do a second pass on an oil painting sooner than a month. And then I found out about the drying agents that you can add to oil paints. And I was like, brilliance. You can have it dry overnight. And then I took a few classes from artists who are far wiser. No, they just know more. And they're like, you don't actually, like, you don't really need that. Oil paints do dry overnight. Like, pretty good. And if they don't dry overnight, they'll dry in 2 nights. If you're doing it at the correct. And well, there is no correct or appropriate with art. But when you're trying to do this kind of style of thin glazing and brush strokes, if you're doing impressionistic, you actually don't use the drying agents because they mess up your art and make it crack. Especially in the long run, it could actually be really bad for the art. But got off track. But if you're doing like the impressionistic style, very gloppy, very brushstrokey, you might want to do that. Or just that's when it takes 5 effort to dry. But otherwise, it's pretty good. Which absolutely blew my mind. Okay, well, I'm just procrastinating. I don't want to get started. Okay, let's do the face. Let's go. Okay. I usually start with shadow. I don't know, starting with the shadow feels so comforting. They get all existential on people. It's just something about it that, like, it's not scary to start in the shadows. I don't know why. I'm gonna add a little bit more black to this slightly darker version of this white. This one had less yellow as I add more yellow. I'm gonna add a little bit more white. I'm not any more white, no. Okay. Very cool. Very, very cool. And then I want to add cool in color, not as in coolness. Anyway, adding a little bit of the raw umber and just a tiny little bit, I think, maybe not, of burnt umber. I took it back. I think I want it to have a little bit of pink, but maybe not. Wait. I'm thinking. I'm gonna add a little bit of black to some of this pink, the cad red and white. And then add a little bit of the orange. My throat today, not happy. And then I'm gonna make a little bit of pile. This is like the most I've ever pre-mixed skin tones. And not gonna lie, I'm a little shocked that I'm doing it. I think it means I'm getting better at seeing the colors and knowing what colors I want on my palette. Which is an interesting thing to note, because I was always like, I hate mixing skin tones on the palette, because how do you know if it's right? Yeah, that's fine. It's not fine. But, I'm seeing more and more, for your fun facts information, that it kind of just takes time. And that what doesn't make sense in the beginning will make sense later. Once you do it enough to be able to kind of hold all that information in your brain at one time. Which is something that's so cool. I had like an existential moment yesterday about how art works and how, hold on. Am I good? And how it's impossible to focus on all things at the beginning, and you can't do it all. Not at the start. But the only way to be able to do it later, I like this color better up here, is to just do it. Not do it well. Not try, but to just simply do it. And that's when you see results. And it's not, they always say, like, don't be afraid of failure. And it's not, I hate that advice. Because, I was going to say because you will fail, but that's like the premise of saying that. It's like, don't be afraid of failure because you're going to fail. But don't be afraid of just doing it. And sticking to some rigorous program or doing it exactly as another artist does it, unless that's what you want. Exactly as another artist does it, as I copy other artists. No, unless you want to learn what that artist did, which is exactly why I'm doing this. Okay, anyway. But the thing I found the most is what I was saying at the beginning, that my brushstroke style is very odd, I feel, in comparison to what people teach often. It's very chaotic and just, I want to keep it moving or else it's like I'm a shark. If I stop swimming, I die. And just embracing that and being like, that's how I paint. That's what makes sense. And not being afraid of your own style, even as you probably sit there and agonize over what is my style, because I remember doing that as well. Just got white in the wrong spot. But yeah, that's my little bit of I was gonna say Monday morning motivation, but it is Thursday. Hey, it's Ascension Thursday. If you're in the dioceses that celebrate the Ascension on the Thursday, meaning New York and like 3 other dioceses, it's a holy day of obligation, except for the fact that it's COVID. I got a little sad. Anyway, it's Ascension. It's also Our Lady of Fatima, the feast day of Our Lady of Fatima, the feast day of the first apparition, right? Yeah, in October is the Miracle of the Sun. This is a little bit warmer. I'm gonna add a little bit of whatever this red is in here. No, I'm not. Okay, well, that was a mistake. I want an orange. I'm gonna mix. As the day goes on, I'm probably just gonna end up mixing all the colors I usually mix in the beginning that I really thought I didn't need today. So I'm gonna mix some yellow, ochre, and red. And then some red and Oh no, I'm almost out of burn umber. Red and burn umber, I think. No, I won't be needing that. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna keep mixing it. But yeah, okay. I like those two colors. I'm gonna grab a new brush. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna grab a new brush because I need to finish using this brush first before I get too distracted. That's gonna be really dark. Oh man, I've been having so much fun like figuring out the face though. And all of the weird different planes that there are that just simply at the beginning I just did not see. Just straight up. It's like, I don't even know. It's like entering into a room when it's dimly lit. Ooh, that's actually not a bad metaphor. Entering into a room when it's dimly lit and not being able to see a single thing. But some artist coming in and being like, look at all these shapes! And you're like, okay, I guess. But then is like, I'm thinking of my room at night. Like when the moonlight comes through the window and slowly your eyes adjust and you can start to see different things. Except that's a pretty bad metaphor because that implies that it happens automatically. But you have to actually like learn and try in order to get to that point of seeing. But it does happen as you try. Place yourself in the situation and it'll happen. Moral of that story, though, is I looked at my dad yesterday and I was like, your nose is crooked. I did not ever realize your nose was crooked. Fun things like that. You start going crazy with the shapes. I just added a little bit of black and umber. I'm not, okay. No, I'm not going to say that. Because I think I will. I was going to say I'm not going to render this very much, but I think I just might. I'm going really thin now. This is also, okay, I'm not going to lie, this is probably way too dark. But as I said, I really like the shadows, colors, and whatever. That is definitely going to be too dark if I do that. Okay, am I done with this color? I might be done with this color. Like a paint by number. That is going to go darker, though. This is going to go darker. He did this lovely pink. And especially in the eyes, there's a lot of pink there. I can't tell if this is too dark or too light and this is too dark, or if this is too dark. I just said the same thing. I can't tell which direction this needs to go, so I'm not gonna... I know that this gradient is way too abrupt, but without the greater context of the skin at large, I have no idea really which direction. I have a feeling it's feeling this is too light. This might also be too dark. I just give it an actual look, as I was saying how I'm not gonna look at it. Am I just gonna keep painting with blue? Yes, I think I do want to keep painting with the light blue. And here's why, because her face is really white. No, because I'm gonna end up adding a lot of Cad Red and into it, and I think it'll actually bounce off. It'll bounce back and forth. Usually I end up adding too much black and white to a painting, and then it looks really gross and dull. But I think it's gonna be okay this time. I'm gonna go into the lighter areas. The brush has too much of the darker colors in it to really be light. So I'm not gonna start from the lights, I'm gonna start from the mediums, which is something I usually don't do. We might see me get afraid in a couple seconds and go back to where I know. I kinda wanna add the cheekbone. No, I'm thinking that the shadow is too light. Okay. kind of a little bit of sculpting as well. Okay, how do I want to do this? I'm going to get a new brush. I'm going to go light. We're going to go with the white. Grab this first color, which is what was on that. Oh my goodness, I would say that's even too yellow. I think it wants to go a little bit more purpley. Okay, we're going to pause right here. We're going to grab a little bit of the peachy pink. Not the peachy pink, the pink. We're going to mix it right in. Ooh, now that's going to be a little bit darker. I'm going to add a little bit of the blacker stuff. This is where it's really nice to have mixtures rather than going to the pools at the top, because adding a little bit of black to that would be like a disaster and I would never get to the right color. But now we're back. Oh yeah, that's much better. It just hints a little bit warmer than cool. The yellow was making it look really cool because it goes a bit more green instead of a bit more purple. Purple is more warm than green. Wow, this white feel is actually really good today. It's also really thick. That's probably most of it, because I'm actually laying it down really a lot. Okay, we're just going to leave that, and then we're going to blend it in. We're going to come down here. Trying to decide where exactly do I see that same highlight on the forehead, and I don't. Oh, I said I was going to work both faces at the same time. That was, okay, that just didn't happen. We're not going to do that. Now I'm remembering all the reasons why I said it was a good idea to do it, though. We're going to do it, because it is true. Mixing the colors later will be more annoying. But on the other hand, though, I would be better at it. And therefore better equipped to do such a thing. Okay. Okay, I'm going into the shadows. Actually, the shadows on Jesus are extremely warm. Oh, wait, this is where that was. Okay, I can't see the edge because of the painting. I'm sitting a little bit crooked to it. Well, actually, no, I'm sitting straight onto it and crooked to the... Anyway. Oh, okay. I did 2 strokes and then I flipped the brush, but there's red on it. Something like that. And then I'm gonna go into... I'm gonna grab a new brush. No, I'm gonna go into the hair highlight brush, which was over here with these colors. And I'm gonna mix a little bit of white into it. Because on these ones, everything, including the shadows, wants to have a little bit of white because it's so much in the foreground. And add a little bit of black because the shoulder divots in right there. Needs more white. I'm gonna grab the... Oh, I forgot I mixed that color and then I forgot to use it. That would... Oh, look how pretty that color is. Wow. Wow. Okay, anyway, I really like that color. Once again, almost painting the reference. I'm gonna put it right over here. Since that's kind of that orange that I wanted right on that corner. It's not perfect, but it works really well. That's gonna be too light. Hi, Natalie. I started painting. I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit. Wow, okay, I don't even know where I want to start the story. In like grade school, all of that, high school, I had some really good art teachers that encouraged me. And basically were just like, you can paint, look at you go. Which was like awkwardly flattering, and I never really liked it. Anyway, that's a side story. But in high school, I just like actually fell in love with art a lot more and was getting a lot more confident. So I took some AP art classes. And then in that class, we had to make a portfolio by the end. And we could do whatever we wanted. And so it was painting like every day or every week. I think we had to have a whole painting start to finish done, which really pushed a lot. But the teacher there was also like, if you want to use mediums that you've never used before, like, I don't care, go for it. Like, this is your time. This is your senior year. You can do kind of whatever you want. And so that's when I did oil painting. And let me tell you, I fell in love with oil painting immediately. Just like, this is such a cool paint. I was always really intimidated by it, but that class was just like, why not? Why don't I just try doing it? I'm gonna grab a new brush. I don't know what size I want. But then I was like, you can't make a living as an artist. So I went to college for not art, and proceeded to basically not paint for almost 4 years. By senior year, or the summer before senior year, I was like, something is missing. I hate not painting. I need to establish our eyebrows. Hold on. I'm gonna grab the black. I hate not painting. I want to do this, but I don't know how. And I started painting again. And I did a few pieces actually that are in the shop. The Easter Lily for the Kings is in the shop. That was like the first one that I was like, this is a topic that I really enjoy painting. And I want to delve into painting like tabernacles and churches and Jesus in the Eucharist. But back to the question, is how do I learn how to paint? Self-taught. Pretty much entirely self-taught. So I didn't go to college for art. I did painting in high school, but I didn't learn oil paints in high school, except for picking it up for that one project. But since that's, I think a lot of people end up doing that, right? You find out you like art later, or you put it off for something else. But you want to learn how to paint, and you're like, I don't know how to get started. Do I go back to school? You really don't have to. So I took a few, recently, I took a few online classes with artists. So I went to the artists I liked on Instagram, found out they were hosting a class, and then like the week before the class was like, yo, take me, can I paint? And so I did that online last year. So like during COVID as well. So it was not in person, which was really cool. That was really awesome that I found those classes. Hold on, this is not the right shape. It goes up and then down. And they were able to give me some tips and tricks and different and basically guide my own, using what I already knew to accomplish the task for the class. I learned so much from those online classes that, I don't know, I don't want to say like art school. The reason I didn't want to go to art school also, besides the fact that I didn't think you could be an artist, even though that's a total lie, is that in school, they tell you what to paint, you know? That was always my mindset of it. And I didn't want to be told what to paint or how to paint. I very much dislike modern art, and a lot of schools focus on modern art, things like that, abstract and heavy on what does the art mean? Which, of course, what does the art mean is like the subject of everything I do now, right? The meaning is eternity and all of that. But I didn't want to be told what to paint, so I didn't do that. So those online classes were really nice because it was within the bounds, so I did a still life class and a portrait painting class. So within the bounds of those classes, those topics, I could pick whatever I wanted to paint. Yeah, that was a bit rambling. Did that did that answer the question? Do you want to know more about anything? Oh my goodness. Moral of the story is I pretty much taught myself how to do it, and I've been teaching myself recently a lot more, very intentionally, how to paint. So like using the skills that I developed in my earlier years, but was like what sustained it for a while. And now I have big ideas for paintings, and I realize I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. I kind of struggle with composition, painting people accurately, all of these things. So that's what we practice. But yeah. So I've gone back and started doing, highlights. I'm trying to fill in all of the parts of the canvas that are not covered. Okay, this pink, I think needs more white. So I'm gonna make a little pile of pink white down here because I'm out of room up there. Oh no! Too white. Okay, that's too pink. Okay, whatever. I'm trying to just cover the painting right now. Whoopsies. Oh, now I'm hitting the things. Oh my. I almost just deleted something off. Okay. That would have been awkward. I almost deleted the scene on the software that I used to stream. Okay, I just added that white highlight and that was totally wrong. But what do I want this in? Oh my goodness. I just realized I started the eye and then just didn't do the other eye because I got distracted talking. And then with the white. Okay. Oh my goodness. Let's go back to the eye and try to... Okay, but oh, that was why. I was using a bigger brush and I was trying to use this big brush with the white on the eye and that was not working out because the brush is just too large. Okay. Let's fill in these parts that are not done and then I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. And we're gonna ignore the fact that this looks really weird. I'm gonna do a little bit here. Oh, I never did that color. You know, maybe it was a mistake trying to do both of these at the same time. That's okay. I do think this could be an interesting study in doing a underpainting and overpainting, depending on how long it takes me to finish one of these two. I might want to come back. Okay, no. We're not doing both those at the same time because I just looked back over here and I was like, why does she only have one eye? Okay, black brush, come back. I want to adjust this shade one more time. Okay, that's probably too dark. That is definitely too dark. I shouldn't have done that. Adding in some here. Her eyes are so pretty in this painting. Like, the detail in them is kind of a lot compared to the nose and the mouth, even. It's probably mostly just because they're so contrasted with the detail. They kind of remind me of the Francis master copy that I did a while ago. It's one of the earlier ones. Like early enough that it's just on the Instagram and not on YouTube. But that one, his eye has so much emotion. And it's conveyed through just a very, very well done rendition of the eye. Just making sure every single element of it is in there and not simplifying anything. Nice. Yeah, it's hard to, like, when you're not encouraged as a child, it definitely, that helped a lot to give me confidence. I mean, I wasn't good as a kid. The talent, natural talent, I'm a firm believer that natural talent is not as, not that it's not a thing. Some people are just naturally not, how do I want to say this? So that's not true, and you picked up a pencil later and brush. Yeah. Good. I'm glad you're continuing on. But, oh my goodness, I like had 5 brain thoughts right at the same time. Because I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's like, the people who are naturally talented are the ones that pick it up faster, but that doesn't mean it's impossible to be picked up by other people who don't understand it so quickly. Basically that anyone can learn how to paint, and anyone can learn how to paint well, or do art well, whatever it is. And it's not, especially recently, like, I kind of wish you could see my people back in the day. I was just awful at it. If I was to say, I would have 0 natural talent in painting people. 0. And yet, okay, well, not right now. This is not done. But nowadays, I'm like, hey, I think I can. Or like, I understand the necessity of practice. And through the practice, I understand the face better, and I understand how to use the materials better, and I understand all these other things much easier. And so it's much less about natural talent and more just about doing it. And being consistent, which is hard when you're self-taught. For sure, it's hard when you're self-taught. Because the only one providing you with motivation is yourself, and it's really easy to, not, as I'm sure you're aware. But yeah, usually the big difference between people, like the artists that you love, that you're inspired by, whoever it is, it's like, that's not how they were in the beginning. And we often don't see people's beginning journeys. And people who are like geniuses from birth, it's like, well, also they were encouraged too, So, never fear if you're self-taught and don't have the background of an artist and everything else. You definitely can paint, and you definitely can learn how to paint. That's not a barrier. The only barrier is really yourself, which is the same thing for everything. Whether it's sports or academics or science, it's whatever. When you apply yourself, results happen, and when you don't, results don't happen. And so the key is kind of just finding like what do you care about. I know that as time continued on, like I was saying, in high school, I loved art, but I didn't think you could do it. And then halfway through college, or like at the end of college, when I realized I wasn't painting, I was like, no, I actually care a lot about painting. This is extremely important, and something feels like it's missing when I don't use this talent. And I don't develop the talent. And so I sat down and I started practicing a lot more. And then I got better. I will actually never forget. So in October, everyone does their, October challenges. Instagram is inundated with October challenges. But I did a challenge last October to paint a saint every day. And that was right at the point where I was like, I want to start drawing people more. I'm terrible at it. But if I do this challenge, maybe I'll learn something. Or I don't know. I just wanted to push myself to. There's a lot of things that went into it. But basically I did it. And at the end, I was like, I got better. I was honestly shocked that I improved. Because I improved a lot over the course of the month, I guess. But I improved quicker than I ever imagined that I would. I thought there would be, maybe a little bit of change. Maybe I'd get a little bit better. not much. I didn't expect a huge amount of growth after painting every day for a month. And it was really hard to sit down. Like, there, at the beginning, first week was, like, super encouraging, and then halfway through the next week, I was like, I just don't want to do this anymore. And I dragged my feet. And I didn't even finish. Now that I think about it, I didn't finish the 30 days. I stopped, like, 2 days early. Or maybe, like, a week early, because I was excited about something else. I'm adding in really high chromatic reds. Ribera really has, this is a huge study in contrasts of the intensity to the paleness. So I'm trying not to get bogged down in the idea of having midtones and going through the full range of colors, but mostly just focusing on like the brights to the darks. Anyway, continuing on. Oh, I just improved. Yeah, that was the end of the story. I was kind of done. But I was honestly shocked with how much it got better in the month. And then from that was when I got the confidence to take the class on portraits. Or where I was like, you know, I can continue to do this, I can get better, but I think I do want somebody to tell me tips and tricks as to how to do this. And it worked out that the class was then. That was actually a few months apart, but still, the idea stands that... Anyway, now I'm just rambling. I need a dark color. Okay, I do want this dark color, but I want to have a little bit of burnt umber and Alizarin crimson. And I want to put that in the lip. Ooh, that's thick. That was not a good brush stroke. Okay, it's fine. I need to establish the white of the eye because these irises are kind of getting out of control. I'm gonna add in. Okay, so this is a very, very dark brush. I don't want it to be this dark. Okay, I want some raw umber. That's a bit dark still. Oh, what did I say about the shadows? Even the shadows have white. Okay, we're gonna do that. Maybe. I need... Oh, I'm almost out of burn umber. Where was I mixing? We'll call it there. I just genuinely got lost on my palette. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of white. And we're gonna see what that looks like. I'm trying to get that underneath of the lower eye. There's the waterline, and then the... What is it called? The eyelashes come out below that. So there's this, like, ridge next to the under the eyeball that is highlighted. And then there's this lower intensity area, or this turn, and then everyone has these dark circles under their eyes, and the goal is to make it look natural. This one is very small, though. Okay, this brush might be a little bit too big. I'm really, like, pushing final details at way too early of a stage. Okay. What is it about? I need to make a white brush. So I'm starting to ask myself, what is it about this eye that makes it look weird? The answer is the shape is wrong, and the shape is wrong because there's no white of the eye for me to play off of. The white of the eye, though, is going to be rather blue. So I'm going to add some black to some white. We'll do it down here. And it's going to be not very white at all. This might even be too light. Oh, no, that's okay. Did I cover... I didn't cover down here. But I covered the rest of the face pretty well. Mileage is definitely the key. Which is so frustrating. I don't know if you got frustrated when you like start realizing that or keep getting told that over and over again. I remember being so frustrated when artists not like at the artist, but just like why is mileage is the key? I just want to get better like immediately. Why can't I just be good? And I think part of that was I am like, or I practiced originally through painting off photographs, you know, or like in school. I didn't paint from my mind as often, or draw from my mind. Hold on, wait, what is this shape doing? It is not doing that. Okay, hold on, I just had to focus really quick. So like I could do stuff, and I liked the results. So I didn't like the answer that mileage is like the only thing you need to do in order to progress. And I got in my head a little bit too much. But I also wasn't in like the right mindset, and it wasn't time for me to push on to a new skill set. I was still trying to build the old skill set. But yeah, mileage is truly just the only thing stopping you from being where you want to be. My favorite, like, it's the most annoying. I was doing whatever. My favorite motivational quote, it's not even like a motivational quote. It's just the difference between doing something and not doing something is doing something. Why is that so true? Alright, I need to add the white of the eye over here. And it's so frustrating. So this bottom of the eye, I'm kind of missing. The pupil is currently fading into this eye line. What is that part called? I don't know. The lower eyelid. And that is making it look weird. It needs to go darker. Okay, I'm gonna just put some there. I need to go lighter on my brush, but right now I have some dark, so I'm just gonna keep using it. I'm gonna add a little bit of browns. Ooh, maybe I want to add, like, I really like this cad red and ochre mix. It's a nice brown. Orange mixed with black, or dark colors makes brown. Really nice warm brown. And I'm liking that for these sort of shadowy colors. All right. I think I poked her head out too far into the hair. I'm gonna use a little bit more of that under this eyelash. I have it going really red, but I'm gonna fade it and tone it down and have it turn around the eyeball and into the shadow under the eye. It needs to go a little bit darker. Also, Ribera really did put in eyelashes. I guess it is close enough up that it was nice. Usually artists kind of just like whoosh, eyelashes, you know. Long it kind of looks like they're there, it's good. But he did paint a little bit of the individual brush eyelashes. Eyelashes. I cannot say words apparently. Same with the eyebrow. I kind of made it into a block, but it's definitely okay. No, that was the wrong direction. Push that back up. But he has some nice eyebrow strokes in there. But I'm gonna keep it the shape for now. And then I can cut in and add the light of the skin behind it in a bit. It's kind of the same with, I don't know why, it's the same as, that's why it reminded me of it. But I did a still life a while ago with the Liturgy of the Hours open. So it's a book that's open, laying on the table. And I did that as part of one of the classes that I took. And the teacher there, Christina Grace Mastrolangelo, if you are interested, she's a very good artist. She taught me how to do texts really simply, and you want to block it in one kind of in between color, like the color that it would be on the page if you step back 7 feet, and then from there cut the white of the page back in and add a little bit of detail, but not a lot. And let me tell you, it worked really, really well. And so I'm going to approach the eyebrow in a similar way. I could also do it the opposite way, which is probably what Ribera did, to do the skin tone as the base, and then add the brush strokes on top, but I'll end up adding more brush strokes on top of it as well. That needs to turn more up. The shape of the eye is a little off. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, that's a good start. This goes up a little bit more. I also find working the eyes on a painting, or a portrait rather, on every painting, working the eyes. No, on a portrait, working the eyes makes it feel much more complete when it's incredibly not complete, which is really satisfying and it gives me motivation to keep going on it. Okay, so there's a darker line around the iris. Or as is that the iris? Yes. The pupil is the black part. This like, especially in a brown eye, there's almost black around the edge. And then there's the actual color of the eye, and then there's the pupil itself. And having those 3 layers really helps. It's the same way when you paint eyes on a statue. I learned that one technique from a statue painting program. And it works super well, especially to just get the basis of it in there. Is that the right shape for that eye? No. This still wants to go up, down, and around. Also, I always tend to draw, okay, the lips in these paintings are always small, but I always tend to draw them extra small, and something to note. Okay, we're going to clean up this edge. Trying to keep all of the edges really soft. This is also why I do the background first always. I've talked about this in most of the paintings. To keep the edges really soft, you need something to be able to brush into. Otherwise, you're going to have dry brush strokes, which are just very unattractive for most paintings. Unless that's like the goal. Kind of impressionistic. But then you're going to be using more paint on that. But a thin dry brush stroke usually looks kind of out of place. So having something to mix into is really helpful. I'm gonna make this go a little bit darker, and I'm probably gonna regret it. There's little bits of hair here. Okay. The nostrils also go in the wrong direction. And then there's the shadow of the nose, which is distinctly the color of the skin. Darker, not the color of the nose darker, because the color of the nose is really pink. This is kind of actually, I kind of knew it from going in, but this is a very interesting painting. To do a master copy of, because it is so much like a grisaille underpainting, black and white underpainting, that I can just paint with black and white and look at the shapes rather than trying to add in a million different colors. But I'm sure I will be adding in a lot more variations. But yeah, like comparison to Giordano's Annunciation that I painted a while ago, that one had so many colors. So much variation, and it looked beautiful, but it was just a lot of variation there. I do want a little bit that there, but I don't want much more than that. I'm gonna go back to that brush. Where's that? Was that my black brush? Yeah, it must have been. That's what I was talking about. Okay, I need a new brush. I need it to be that pale bluish shadowy color that is an in-between of everything else. Really, it's this color that I mixed earlier. Because I need to bridge some of the... Okay, no, not that color. It needs to be a little bit lighter. I need to start bridging the gaps between these disparate shapes. This highlight right here under the lip is extremely important. And then the highlight on top of the lip is really important. So I'm just going to fill it in a little bit and then I'll add a highlight later. I'm going to grab my black or my red brush. And just make this a little bit bigger. There needs to be a lot more variation in here. But I'm gonna do that for now. Because actually I think this comes down. We'll do that. I want a little bit more red in here. And in here. And in here. That has such a vibrant... Here, okay, I'm gonna grab the cad red. And then right on this edge, there's just cadmium red. Pretty much. Okay, also, you know what I just realized is her eye does not... It's not doing it at all. Okay, grab to the black. Her eye's looking too much forward. Because I don't have this shape of shadow established. I need to establish the white in the eyes. Okay, we're gonna do that first. Because this entire pupil needs to move over. Sad day. Is it okay? We just push it over. No big deal. Brush management today is going pretty okay. Actually, I'm using almost no brushes right now. Because these colors are pretty simple. Okay, and then shading in the pupil, blending it out. There we go. Now it's more like she's looking over and not straight on. All right, I need a new brush. I'll grab a smaller one, and I'm gonna do the white of the eye. We're gonna do it. That's gonna be... Oh, it's not too light. Okay, good. I'm not gonna add the white of the highlight yet, just in case I want to move something over again. Though the second the highlight goes in, it's gonna be amazing. Clean off the brush a bit by adding more paint. Getting this highlight is also almost as important as the highlight in the eye itself. And then this needs to shift over with the light. This is gonna need a little bit more light as well. This part of the eye is convex. It curves out, not in. And then it curves in over here. So the light hits it a little bit differently in each direction. I'm gonna avoid the little bit of cad red I put there. I need a bit more white. I'm actually going to pull from the peachy pink mix. A little bit of highlight here as the edge of the eye turns, and then we're seeing the back of the eye socket. Which is a little strange, but it works. Kind of gets that weird angle over the tilt of the head. One thing I really noticed about old art is that the angles that people are positioned in are so much more fluid and sometimes strange than nowadays. Like you see, like the really dramatic narrative art, half the time the people are just not even facing the camera. I was looking through some of the old art books and I was like, this is really, like, the really dramatic, the paintings that are like the masters of the times, right? You need to know how to paint faces and bodies and shapes and all of that from anything but straight on or 3/4 view. It's really interesting. Okay, now I'm adding the actual brown of the eye, and I just accidentally got rid of the edging there. The amount that of an eye that is in shadow, noting that has been really interesting, because our eyes simplify shapes naturally. Right? When you look at a person, you see person. When you look at brown eyes, you say brown eyes. Things like that. And it's like, I get this entire shape, but recreating it in a painting, I'm constantly reminding myself that it's more complicated than what I originally thought. There's more variation. And often everything goes a lot darker than I want to admit. Like this entire iris is going to be in shadow, except for very small parts that are going to be really brown. So I'm still kind of missing this fact that her lower eyelid pops into and cuts off the iris. So we're going to do that, and then it goes over. There we go. Starting to get some of that. And I'll cut in a bit more when I work on the forehead. Okay, well, no, that was not actually brush strokes. Okay, I've totally abandoned any attempt to do both these faces at the same time. I'm just gonna put that out here. I'm not gonna try to go back to Jesus right now. That's a little dark. I'm gonna stop there. Alright, I need to work on that, and then that'll be good for the eyes. Or much better. Except I need white on the other side. I'm gonna delve into the shadow-ishy colors of the skin tone whites. Because the only part that's really light is right here. But since it's on the shadowed side of the face, it is not actually white at all. I'm gonna go much more into the darks. No, that's too dark. Let's bring it back over here. I need to fix this area. There's almost blue. Okay, I'm evening this out, and then I'm going to add more white back in. And I'm going to add just a tiny bit of blue into one of these mixes. This is kind of a way that he made it, the blue of the skin tone, look less weird. Okay, if I could actually deposit the paint, that would be great. Is by having these blue notes in the eyes. Okay, come on, the black. I've lost the curvature of this eye. And the shadow, the cast shadow that the eyelashes are doing on the eyeball. Really necessary. Really lost it. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back in with the light. But I have dark on my brush, so I'm gonna give it a pause. Fix that. I really just obliterated that brush. That brush is no longer white. Let's get a new one. I'm gonna get the lighter mix of the white. No. Yes. Okay, hold on. Let's do the eye first. I'm a big fan that if I have the wrong color on my brush, I just figure out where it's needed elsewhere and use it instead of trying to constantly remix to that one perfect color that I wanted. I kind of just like progresses the painting a little bit faster. Okay, this feels really cartoony. So I'm gonna fuzz all the edges of the brush strokes. And then this needs to fuzz out. I'm kind of live mixing on here. This is a little bit lighter than I thought, and I need white over here. I'm gonna go a little bit darker. I wanted to go peachy pink back then when I switched up, because I want to add here. And on the eyelids, he distinctly did not do that grayish skin tone color. He added a little bit of pink and orange to it. This is the brush that has the one errant thing. It's fine. It's fine. We're all fine here. Okay, and then it's gonna need to turn. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna fix that little nugget that I messed up. And then which is my dull brown brush? Just push that back. I need, okay, my dull brown brush. It's gonna be this one, I think. It's got some white in it, and I got some cad red. Oh, the last of my burnt umber. Some of these darker browns. And then the cad red and yellow ochre color. Because I want an orange. As this turns around the edge of the eye, it's gonna go darker on that edge. I just got rid of the white, but that's okay. A little bit darker up here. Back to the white brush. All right, this brush has that, it's okay. This brush is gone. I need to fix that. It has one brush, one strand of hair that is a little bit longer than the edge. Which when you're using a round, you want that to go to a perfect point. And not, so you have one little, what, you want it to go to a point. What I'm trying to say is you want it to go to a point. I'm gonna use this as the highlight here. I'm gonna need to fuzz that out. What is going on here? This needs to fuzz in. All right, let's work on this area. Okay, I need to reestablish the shadow under her eye there. We're gonna go over here. Kind of just mixing the different parts of the painting that are down there and adding a little bit of a fresh layer of paint, as well as trying to find, I guess, like the correct color. Starting to mix. Using a lot of simple colors in the beginning, or just a lot of different colors. As I go through, I'm going to be unifying it because of the different colors I'm adding on top. That doesn't make sense. Oh my gosh. Words! Where did they go? So I had some kind of like bright splotches of color, and I'm going in with different colors and adding and mixing that in. And the kind of conglomeration of all of that, as long as I'm being aware of what I'm putting on the canvas, that's going to unify the painting and make it look more like a face, which has a lot of different, a ton of different colors in it. A face is a very complicated shape. And if you don't have the little subtle variations in color as well as in value, it doesn't look right. All these different things that I'm sure we're going to have to establish as I continue this painting. But by kind of going back and forth and not trying to find that one color perfectly in the first time, and then going back in with other colors, and kind of blending them together into a lot of variations rather than just one color. Which is kind of why I don't stop and fully render one single area. That, and it just simply does not make sense for my brain. I need to make a little bit more dark on the edge of that to turn. The eye is receding away, and this entire side is in shadow. Also, I've lost the entire edge of her face. Let's try to fix that so I can look at it with clear eyes. So this is a nice smooth shape. It pops in and then pops back out and comes straight down. And then blending that edge just a little bit. Ooh, and then it goes in ever so slightly there. I need to add the white on this area. I'm gonna do that really quick. That's an okay color, sorry about that. That's too light. I chose the warmer one. But I'm gonna go, okay, I'm gonna add some cooler whites. And just lay those in. I'm gonna just even out this area. Because if I don't get to it today, I want it at least to have a good base for painting on tomorrow. Oh, okay, don't cover up the entire eye. I'm really trying to just push the paint in all of the crevices of the linen. So I don't see the underpainting as much. All right, back to the face. Back to the small brushes. I got the shadowier color, reestablish this. I'm just going to need a little bit of the brown, ever so slightly. This shape is really important. One that's I've been noticing a lot more recently. It's that divot of where the eye socket meets the bridge of the nose. And if that's not established, it looks wonky. All right. Oh, right. We're doing the edge, bottom edge of this. I want that to be much more orangey. Maybe not that orangey. It needs to blend out into a light. Grabbing some of the peachy pink colors. That highlight is not established enough. It also curves in right there on the inside of the eye. So this highlight is not even the entire time. It curves in a bit there and disappears. Okay, I can't really tell if it's just the fact that it's printed out and a little bit grainy, but there's a lot of jumblation. It's not a real word. That's the only word I can think of now. Where it's not brushstrokey, it's like speckled. Pixelated, that is an option. All right, what am I doing here? There's something there. I need to fix that line so it blends into the hair. Oopsies. There is other colors at the bottom of that brush. Just need to add more on top. I don't really wipe off my brushes. If you've been watching the past couple weeks, you know that. Okay, okay, but I'm gonna swap brushes to a more highlighty color that I'm gonna mix with a bit of the peachy pink. Oh, maybe I'll use this one. This is a cool pile. That's a slightly more purpley version of the highest highlight of the skin tone, which is perfect for the cheek, which has more pink. Okay, this bridge of the nose does not come out far enough. This shape too, the edge of the nose coming down the side of the face, really intrigues me. And since I just touched that on my face, I wonder if it really confuses me a lot because I wear glasses. One thing I noticed when I started painting a lot of their faces more is that I tend to round faces a lot, which makes sense because I have a round face. Like the face I subconsciously relate everything I paint to is myself. Oh, that's really warm. Well, that's really vibrant. And so learning how to not do that was a big part of it. But now I'm saying, it's kind of weird. Like, my nose. I can't see that shape when I look in the mirror. No wonder why it doesn't make sense in my head. But there's kind of a harsh transition from the bridge of the nose. From like that highlight. It's not a smooth curve, it's like a abrupt turn. Kind of just blending out what I have here, and then I'm going to go back in with highlights, I think. I do want a little bit of the really cool, and I'm going to put it right next to the nose to help give contrast and make the nose look even warmer. it's too late. Blend it out. What is going on with her? Okay, I'm going in and changing it. Hair color brush. Reapply. Tap out. Okay, that still didn't work. I'm gonna get the black brush. Okay, and then the head turns, so I want to have a little bit of darkness to fade into the edge of the hair, which will help make it look like it's not a shape on top of a shape, but that it's a sphere that is turning around and meeting the hair back here. The hairline is really soft. And I'm just blending out every edge of the brush stroke so that it's really, well, soft as well, which will help make it look more purposeful. Okay, this brush is a little bit too dark for this. Swapping to a more medium color. Adding a little bit of this brown, I think. Maybe a little bit of black. But I didn't pick up any black. Working out what is going on here. There's a lot of different shapes. And then they're all going to want to blend together and be super soft. So one way to make a face look young is to keep it very soft. Adding a bit of the purple in. The orange. The orange that I loved earlier is now kind of going bye-bye. But it'll make a good base. And it's good for right up here, right up there. We're in the shadow of the rosiness of the cheek. That part is really light. Here. Working some of the light back into the cheek color. I'm gonna have to add more chroma to the edge of this cheek. For now, I'll just prime it with a little bit of white. There's still some blank linen there that I need to cover. Also right here. How long has that been there? This needs to go later. Okay, kind of just cleaning off the brush a little bit. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Okay, I need a bit more pink. It's both this highlight color and this pink color at the same time in the chin. Blend, 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 blend. I need more chroma there. Alright, I'm gonna go to I need a new brush. I'm gonna go to the shadow of the cheek color. I'm gonna fix that a little bit. That's a pretty cool shadow with warmth up at the top, but a bit of that highlight there. I think that does want to go darker. The verdict is it goes darker. Cool. Okay, I think I just need more paint down here. Hold on. Running out. Mixing with nothing. Oh, that's like black and white, pretty much. And I'm gonna add a little bit of... Let's add a bit of the cad red and yellow ochre. Okay, it comes down like there, and then over. But I have it coming a little, nope, that's not the right color. What color? I'm gonna go back to my brown brush. It's too dark, but oh, it might work for the ear. Sort of as an edging to this shadow. And there's a blender for here. Okay, wait, that is supposed to be later. That color needs to go more. Oh gosh. Whoopsies. Mixing up a bit of a brown. There we go. That's getting somewhere. And then I want a cheek color, which is going to be very close to just pink, but is going to lean, I think, a little bit orange, which is something I've been doing a lot in the paintings. So adding a little bit of cad yellow. Wow, that's dark. I love when that happens. Look how dark that is. Look how light that looks. Just because the colors next to it are different. But I'm going to use this color here to bring a little more chroma to the eyes, because I have not accomplished what Ribera did. It's not chromatic enough. I keep moving around. Okay, well, I'm just gonna continue on with a different color, getting a little bit more light. It's very dull. I'm gonna add some cad red and cad yellow. Okay, what does this look like? That's still very dark. Adding some more yellow, or that peachy pink, white, to lighten it without totally knocking down the chroma. That's a little bit closer. That might be good for like right there though. Going more pink. Okay, we're gonna leave it with this. So I think once I put it over here as well, it'll help. I keep losing this edging of her face. That's okay. Noses are weird. Okay, they come out and then it comes back in. And then comes down and over. And then we fix the edge with the white on the other side. And pull it in. And this comes out farther. And we're just going to do that. It's going to look weird for a minute, but it'll be fine. I'm really bumping the chroma up for these little bits. I also need to actually do a little bit more on the lips. I really like this in this sort of neutral lip color. Okay. Adding a highlight there. And there. Blending it in. Delicately, gently, going down here, giving the impression of having the wrinkles. Alright, we pause and we move on. We're going to do something else first, because I need to get a darker brush so that I can do the darker areas. Alright. We need to grasp the innocence of youth. A lot of that is with the cheekbones. This entire area is a very nice round, two round shapes. I've drawn her more like a model, which would have very, what's that called? Planar cheekbones. Okay, I'm gonna new brush. Straight up new brush, let's just do it. I'm gonna mix a lighter version. Focusing in. You know, that's backwards. Okay, there's a highlight that comes down here. And then a V-ing bit of shadow, which I'm not going to do in. Because I don't have a brush that has it right now. This edge does want to have a bit of a highlight. There's a little bit of light back here, bounce light. That turns and that needs to be fixed. There's the highlight underneath the eye, and then there's the lower and upper portions of that shadow. This needs to be pushed out. This line, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Out of control. This line defining the edge of the nose is really subtle, and mine is very aggressively there. I'm gonna go with straight white. Usually I don't use straight white in a portrait. I use the yellow white. But this portrait is so blue that straight white will be good. Okay, well, that's the beginning of it. These are very white. Usually highlights of the eyes are not as vibrant, but Ribera went all out. These ones are more subtle. There we go. Alright, continuing to blend these together and finding where the edges truly lie. And thinking about roundness of a cheek, which I have messed up with the edge of the face line. Trying to keep this edge between the face and the background really smooth. Every time I add a new brush stroke, it sharpens the edge. Every time I adjust it, it sharpens the edge. And then I want to go back over it a little bit and smooth it back out. This little bit comes up a little bit further. And then this whole edge does need to go a tiny bit darker so that it turns around. Same reason as up there, except that I need to go back to that again. A lot of going back and forth. Oopsies. Okay, getting rid of some of that paint, grabbing a bit more of the chromatic pinks. Gonna smooth that edge out just a little bit. I just got lost in the painting and totally messed up that entire line. That's not at all what I wanted. Whoopsie. I do want it to go a little bit more. What am I thinking? This transition is not doing it. I'm gonna start adding a little bit of the pink color on top of that to help smooth it between the two while turning the corner. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of mixing a little bit of the red with the black. because this needs to go darker. And doing a little bit of a purple, I think, works pretty good. Grabbing some more of the dark. This is going to have the hair, so it's going to shadow it up more as well. Trying to figure out this shape as well. The chin being like a cylinder that pops out, like a lump. That is a highlight. I don't know why that's red. That shape is a little off. It wants to go up a little bit. And then it wants to widen, but I don't have black on my brush. This entire transition, it is dark down there, but it needs to blend out. And then softly merge into the cheek. Some dark spots. This top area is so one color. It's starting to drive me crazy. Needs more variation. Blending out these brush strokes as well. That wants to have a highlight, but they don't want to be so much like I threw a brush stroke on here. You know? And then I'm going to add this highlight down here. And a little bit there. This needs to go lighter. I know I just threw that paint up on the forehead and then just abandoned it. All in due time. Oops. This brush has a little bit of other colors in it, and it's not getting as white. I probably should switch to a different brush, but I am not going to. Alright. Partially that was to get rid of some of the in-between, or the interior colors of the brush. Foreheads have a lot of very subtle transitions in them. This whole thing I think is just a little bit light though. What is wrong with this? Okay, there's a lot of things. Okay, we're not gonna worry about them right now. Okay, we're gonna smoothly approach. You know, the edge of these eyebrows have a nice warm shadow to it. Everything that's kind of right up against a really dark shadow, Ribera kind of adds a little bit of harsh chroma. Not super harsh, not as much as like Caravaggio might. But he does add a little bit, which is really nice. Really lovely. Oh, that's too much. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the filberts for this. The rounds, the forehead's just simply too big of a shape. Okay, just kind of pushing most of that around. To blend more into the hairline. this transitions over here are too abrupt. I'm going to go back to my rounds. Start to smooth out some of that. This place is very thin. I haven't worked on it as much as other areas. Not as much paint. Try to blend it, make it a little bit thicker. I'm gonna go to my dark brush. I think the last, like, wow, today you really can see the entire shadow of the palette. Camera. Oh my gosh, halfway through the painting I'm gonna change the lighting. Oh, but that hits more on the, okay, well, I'm not gonna fix it, okay. It's just gonna be a disaster. I could sit there for like 6 hours trying to figure it out. Apologies for the glare, though. Adding in some subtle, this whole kind of like double transition that I noticed earlier. Adding in just a little bit for that. That's a bit too much there. Under there. I did just low-key forget why I grabbed the darker brush. It was for the shadow. Okay, fixing this one a bit more. I'm gonna scumble a little bit, because I think part of the problem is that it is so linearly brush stroked, all sort of the same. And it makes it look wrong because it's too smooth. There's not enough jumbling of the brush strokes, which makes it look more organic and less man-made. Shifting this a little bit darker. Oopsies. I'm glad you're back. Hi again, Natalie. Natalie, I can't speak. Thanks. It is coming along. We are approaching end time, though. And I'm trying to decide how far I want to get today versus where I will pick up tomorrow. I'm gonna make this a little bit wider. Reestablish the shape. Oh, I never went back into the lips. Right. I'm gonna darken the chin just a little bit more overall because she is looking down, and then I'll place the chin in a slight shadow. Bring this highlight out into that shape. Riskily add some white to this dark brush to do that. I'm just gonna switch brushes because I want to push this. That is much too pink of a brush. I need a sort of a neutral-ish color between the two variations of this pinky color and the bluey color. Bring up along here. I think I want to establish the flyaway hairs. So I think that'll help this edge look less stark. Yeah. I add just a little bit of shadow to the brush and redefine a little bit more the lower portion of the eye here. Looking at the reference while I painted it up. I'm gonna highlight this area. And then I need to fuzz this line, make it look not so abrupt. Smooth the transition, erase the brushstroke. Same here. Getting rid of the darkness of the eyebrow for a second. I think it needed more of a transition. Ooh! Okay, there's a bit of a bounce light there, but that's a little bit bright. No matter, I'll mix it in with the colors underneath and it'll kind of disappear a little bit. Blend this transition away. A lot of the late stages is simply getting rid of brush strokes. Ah. She goes in just a little bit right there. Being in shadow, I think it's a little bit dark. Blend in smooth. The smoother all these transitions, also the younger she will look automatically. Because it's only when you have wrinkles that you really see these brush strokes a lot, or you would emphasize the brush strokes on an older person, or even middle-aged too sometimes. This area is not dark enough. Mix until the darks go from under the ear. That was a really aggressive stroke. Let's just kind of blend this out. I'm being a little indecisive about where I'm seeing the darks. Okay, so this whole area, yeah, it's in shadow. So let's just make it shadow. I'm actually kind of surprised I'm making this whole area darker. Because when I was putting the paint on, I thought it was going to be like yesterday where I had to lighten up the shadows. But nope. It wants to be distinctly a darker color than anything that's in the light. And if it's it's not, our eyes visually tell us something is wrong. I also just, this is my dark brush. Sad day. Sad, sad day. Brush management, not on point. We're gonna just mix in. Sure, we're just gonna start mixing. This is go rogue. Mix all of the colors on the palette together. It's that stage of the day. I'll try to do this edge a little bit. Finesse some of these edges so that when I come back to it tomorrow, it's a little bit easier. Okay, all these little corner spots. I'm getting a little wonky. I need a new brush though to be dark. Gotta fix this angle. How do I feel about that? Is that too sharp of an angle? I think it's okay for now. This whole area is a little bit more in shadow. I'm going to swap back to the previous dark brush. Kind of mix everything that's in that brush out so it's one color. And then start laying in a little bit more dark. To lay some nice dark right on the edge underneath the ear. Also need to just make this ear darker. I'm gonna go into the brush, background hair color brush. To re-emphasize this darkness. I'm gonna give it a meh. A little bit of something there. A little bit of something. Okay, I need to just keep working on that chin area, or the jaw line area. That's too late. I need a medium mid-ish tone, which will be with this one. Yeah, and then I'll use this to smooth everything and get rid of brush strokes. I think it is dark enough. The rounds are really good for doing tiny little blending. They're very precise, so you can just play on the line. And then it'll disappear. This part of the neck needs work. I don't know what I'm doing right here. There we go. Okay, I think I'm gonna call that good enough. The farther away from the eyes, I don't care as much. The eyes are the focal point, especially in such a small painting. Where there's not as much room to travel around. I really want the eyes to be the focus and nothing else really. Bit of a cheating method. Also, the focus of the study in general is more this part of the face rather than everything. Though it will move out. I have some planned later. I have this whole progression planned for the master copies. Where I'm going to start zooming out. I think I even have this one, again, zoomed out so you can see all of baby Jesus and a bit more of Mary's clothes, because on this one, what is it called? The drapery of the dress or mantle that Mary is wearing is really beautiful. So on these, I'm just going to start zooming out. That'll be a while, though. I still have a ton of Mary's, like, portrait paintings prepared. Okay, these lines are way too defined. We need to tap, tap, tap and get rid of them. I want to go that dark, but I need it to blend in and out. Remove the brush strokes. Oh, I never finished the lips. I think that's the 4th time I've said that. Lips are something that I just I get them kind of sort of there. And then I never really want to go back and actually work on them. I don't know why. It's all important highlight. And this one. And then this is the edge that is shiniest. I'm going to go with my new black. I'm going to grab a little of Alizarin crimson with the black. And do just a tiny bit there. And there. And then I want to make a lighter version of that. I think I'll just use this. This is burnt umber and cad red together. This might be a little dark. It's a little dark. Okay, lighten it up with more cad red. Delicately add in some three-dimensionality. That is not really that light. Oh, I'm so... Okay, this is why I don't like going back to lips. I'm so nervous that I'm going to mess it back up. Lips are kind of a complicated, weird shape that I'm not super comfortable with yet. So every time I go in, the translate could end poorly. But there's a pretty big difference between the lip color and the skin color. And I noticed that a lot of times the transitionary areas, sometimes like the shadow lies on the lips, sometimes the shadow lies on the skin. And remembering and noticing that is what makes it look correct. So sometimes when I'm tempted, like here, it wants to go darker, but it does not want to go darker in the lip color. It wants to go darker in the skin color. I'm going to add a little bit of this same darkness into the nose. Right here, I kind of lost that turning shadow. I'm going to make this a little bit redder as well. The nostril is going to be a little bit too dark. And I'm adding a little bit of red back here. And I think back here. Also, I kind of lost the eyelashes on this side. And in there. All these little spots. Anywhere that's a big crease, he used a lot of Cad Red. Or the vibrant, deep reds. Instead of straight black. It wasn't dark enough though. There we go. Gonna go with my black brush. Oh, do not tell me that the brush I was just using is my black brush. Okay, new black brush. I'm gonna work on the eyelashes on here. About. Boom. Little bits there. Little bits here. A little too emphasized. A little too many small brushes. I'm gonna go back to the red. I'm gonna cut in. He put the individual brush strokes in, but I just put in like double the amount of brush strokes as he used. Eyelashes are a lot more spread apart than it feels like. It feels like it should be like fur, but it really isn't. I just made the classic blunder. Okay, well, this might end terribly. It's fine. Actually, he's not even using black there. What did I just say about him using warm colors instead of black? Because it holds true for that. The lower eyelashes he definitely did in more of a umber ochre color. More chromatic. Once again, my black brush is not black. All right, wiping it off. We're just going to embrace it. I just wanted to do a little bit right here. I don't want to emphasize it too much because I don't want it to look like a... I don't even know. Like she's wearing makeup. Ooh. Okay, redo the eyebrow that I got rid of about 40 minutes ago. Remembering what I just said again for the third time, that he uses warmth in his shadows. I'm going to cut back in and make this look a little bit better with a warm color. De-emphasize sort of the intensity of those strokes. Just a little bit, especially the ones that kind of got out of control. And then I'm going to go back in with a skin tone light and blend that in. Okay. Okay, and then there's some of these strokes that when I do the brush stroke, it leaves like a little clump of a lot of paint. And getting rid of those alone really helps make it look more natural. It's the same idea of blending the brush stroke away, but with these like tiny little dots. All right, what's missing? Same thing here. These are highlights that want to be really distinct. But I just said, nope, I don't want to do that. Okay, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna make it a little bit more natural. But I do need to go back in with the red. Oh my goodness, Wow, his lips are very weird. I would say they're modern. Like 1900s modern, not 16th century modern. I mean 1600s. They're really glossy. Very weird. I wonder if they did use makeup back here. I mean, it's kind of the time period, right? 1600s would have had makeup. I wonder. Or did he just like naturally emphasize the certain things that he wanted? Also, oh wow. The nostril is gigantic. What have I done? Paint into that with a little bit of a gray. And then this whole thing is in shadow. Oh, you know what? That needs it. Okay. I'm gonna go back to this lip color, red. And oh my gosh, hand. I'm holding it too tight. Blend out of this brush stroke, blend into this. The nose has so many interesting shapes. All right, and then this is when I learned the most about how to paint faces, honestly, is these last stages. I said this yesterday too. But when everything is there, everything is wet, and it looks like a person, right? Like, it's personish. But now staring at it and saying what exactly is wrong with it, what tiniest, hundredth of a centimeter is off that makes it look like someone else or like it's sticking out. And that's what I learned the most about how to paint. I'm going to do that a bit now. A lot of little stuff. Oopsies. Kind of squinting at both. Okay, what is going on here? This goes out way too far. Okay, I just wiped my brush off and I remember that's a bad idea. I like having a little bit of paint on my brush at all times. I find it makes blending easier if you're finding a middle-ish color. It doesn't have to be super accurate, but just something. Whenever I try to blend with a dry brush, it just deposits whatever tiny bits are left over from the brush that I didn't clean. But whenever I use an actual color, it doesn't seem to deposit it as much. Okay, that was not, that actually is quite a dark. It's the shadow of the nose. It wants to be a shadow color. I have no brush that is the medium I want. Okay, I'm gonna make it this. Just fully commit to mixing whatever that is together. And then working on this. Oh. there's a tiny transition here that I don't like anymore. The cheeks are especially important to have no visible transitions or brush strokes, or they look very strange. Even now, I don't know if I've gotten it right. I think mine's a little bit too red. And then oh! Totally lost the jawline. Boom, boom, boom. This whole thing is in shadow, and you need the dark shadow right on the edge, and then the bounce light next to it. Ooh, and I'm getting all sorts of random brush strokes in here. Alright, and then this is too harsh. That is too light of a brush. So I just picked up a bit of the lighter color and then used that as the base for the smoothing of the two. And then I'm going to make this shape less sketchy in between. Define it as its own shadow shape. Be bold. Alright, the neck is doing whatever the neck wants to be doing. I don't really know what it is doing. I'm gonna at least, okay, push this down. And then make this a nice smooth gradient out. And then I need to blend this side so it's not so harsh. And I kind of want to make this whole thing darker one more time. Not a big fan of what's going on there. Oh, you know what part of the problem is? It's not turning here. This has no transitionary colors. I'm just going to grab some of the browns. It's bouncing off her hair, so it doesn't want to have brown in it. I kind of also have way too much paint on the canvas right now. And it's making blending not as easy. Too much paint coming up from underneath, not enough paint. Too much paint coming up from underneath, and when it's the wrong color, it's totally changing the paint color. But that's okay. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Okay. I think that's where I'm going to have to leave it today, though, because I have to go. I think, you know, there's not a ton that I would want to change still. Oh, I never put the hair in. It's not light enough. I want a pink. Very pale pink. There. And then I want to push this whiter. Looking at the camera, since it's smaller, really helps. It's a really good thing I used to do a lot was to take a photo of it from standing far away and then comparing if it looks correct. You can also squint. I have the camera set up, so I might as well use it. I guess I'm just gonna make this entire thing a little bit whiter and pinker. And I'm calling it a day. So, thank you all for watching. Thank you. Yeah. If you want to leave a like on the video, that helps out a ton. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't subscribed. Hit the notification bell. And tomorrow we'll finish this painting. I don't know how wet Mary's face will be, if I can add a little thin layer on top. But mostly I'm just going to work on Jesus and then this edge. And I want to work on the hair again, because I did a thin layer. I never got back to doing it again, but we'll see. I do kind of like the rough kind of outlook that it's got going on. A little bit sketchy. Look at that. I don't know why I did that so far down. It goes over. We're just going to add these on top. Every time I do a brush stroke, I have to go back and get more paint because it's picking up the paint underneath. It would be a little bit easier if it was a little more dry. But also it's kind of nice that it's wet because then it's not super brush strokey. Also, LOL, I never really did her ear. Whoopsies. Just gonna cover that in. All right. Kind of feel like these look silly. Minor regrets adding these in while it was still wet. It's fine. Okay. I might fix that tomorrow. Who knows? I guess you'll have to come back tomorrow and find out. Anyway, I hope everyone has a really great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you tomorrow. Goodbye. Bye.